Welcome to the Hermitcraft recap. My name is Pixelriffs, our writer is ZloyXP, and last week we reported on Tango being tagged by Azuma. Yes, that was more of a goof. The tag HQ was not yet completed by that time, and Evil X was still wearing the dunce head. But this week, rejoice! Evil X has come out of the woodwork and successfully slapped Jevin.
I think I need 5 of them, actually. Oh, he tagged me! No!
The actual episode, which Azuma recorded entirely from the perspective of Evil X, happened this Saturday and is thereby outside of this recap's cutoff date. But Jevin showed himself being tagged on Friday, plus the whole week Azuma himself was putting finishing touches on the Tower of Tag, so we feel that this whole saga is now safe to report. The aforesaid finishing touches are the latest evolution and complication to the great game of tag. From now on, the tagged hermit must immediately head to the HQ building and complete a short parkour course upwards, then drop all the way to the bottom to a dropper which will assign a randomly selected challenge to their time as it. These challenges are devised by everyone who's already been tagged, so at least you get to make somebody else's life worse in this weird pay it forward kind of way.
And we're just a little bit worried that people might take this too far, and by people I mean me. If I submit one, it's gonna be awful, like, you've got to sing while you tag someone. Like, you know,
I'm going to rename a piece of paper and put that one in for the first round.
Oh.
It's going to be in there, but it will be randomized, so we never know what the next term it's going to get.
And with all that out of the way, let's take a look at all the events and mishaps that occurred on the Hermitcraft server this week. Starting with Azuma, because by covering tag, we basically covered most of what he did. His base gets a bit of a facelift with some actual interiors for the kelp smelting facilities, plus the kelp farm's performance is tweaked using some resource pack magic.
You can actually take the block state of a block, and this one right here has an age of 25, which means that it's never actually going to grow taller than that.
Azuma's other noteworthy contributions are returning Paul the Pufferfish to Grian's aquarium, having his turtle factory filled to the brim with water by animal rights activist Jevin, and ordering a hit on himself in Iskal's secret hitman shop, which Iskal swiftly delivers.
I'm sorry, X. I need a trident for this job.
Okay, now's the time to place the lava. Oh, jeez, he's placing block. I put myself in a dead end. This is a very bad idea.
Yeah, I got him.
Okay, I think we've successfully vetted Iskal's hitman shop.
With his server mate dispatched, Iskal returns to his frozen ocean and decides he must construct additional pylons. The 4 floating crystals, which are very much StarCraft inspired, are raised around his central iceberg, which he promptly levels and converts into a giant frozen sinkhole. An ice hole, if you will. It's a huge and still ongoing project, but at least it distracts him from turning everything at the medieval district into a bumbo.
Come on now, people, I wasn't the only one this time.
Well, there goes the view out of Zedaph's window. Thankfully, Zed has another base to live in, one now improved with more sugarcane and less actual floors to stand on. His desert pyramid is modified to double as a reeds farm, but of course, Zed couldn't just let his papyrus machine be fully automated, and instead made something manually activated, weird, and much deeper than it needed to be.
If I just break that, wonder what happens. Oh, well, whoa!
Then again, how much paper do you really expect to go through when the price of ink is 3 diamonds per stack? And that's after false symmetry already lowered the price. It used to be 5, you know. Still, profits and customers start going through the non-existent roof right after the price change. Even though Wells Knight in particular snaps and just makes an ink farm of his own. He needed one for the glass shop anyway.
And I know that False has already built basically the same squid farm that I'm going to be building today.
Now looking into the fireworks market, False builds a cat-powered creeper farm, doubling as a music disc production line thanks to a helpful golem and a skeleton with terrible aim.
Oh yes, he's trying to hit the iron golem. We did it! We actually did it!
Her first customer will probably be Mumbo, who has a habit of looking at his builds from somewhere high in the atmosphere. After an episode where we get to see him explain the spoiler shop we already knew about, Mumbo returns to the server to claim the profits, including 3 diamonds that were left on our behalf by TangoTek. Thanks, Tango, we owe you an infomercial, but we might wait until you open the iron shop. In the meantime, Mumbo doesn't keep hold of the profits for long, because he owes Wells Knight 9 diamonds for erecting a spoiler wall, and the rest goes to Doc M because he never paid up for the NHO's beacon service at the Guardian farm. But it's not all bad news. He returns to his base to discover he's been accepted into the Mustache Hall of Fame, alongside such trademark characters as Chips McFace, the Clue Guy, Red Luigi, and Yam Charlie Chaplin.
I was saying, yes, yeah, I'm very impressed with this. This is absolutely incredible. Now,
this is apparently the Convex not punishing but congratulating Mumbo for doing what they told him to and staying off the main Hermit Island, highlighting that in the eyes of Cub and Scar, obedience will be punished just as strictly as disobedience.
I've actually been rewarded for already basing my base on the outside of the island, which is quite funny.
Such large-scale facial hair is no surprise coming from Scar, seeing as how his main project for the week is to build an entire mountain. The top of the perpetually erupting pirate volcano was finished last week, but its bottom was left levitating over the sea level. This is now rectified and terramorphed into realistic hills going a couple of blocks underwater, but still basically floating flat over the surface tension. Cubfan of the Convex, in the meantime, also finds himself the target of a prank. Continuing his retribution for undercutting the Big Logs shop, Rendog turns up at Cub's house in the Modern District with a pocket full of birch and gives every surface the zebra carpet makeover. As revenge goes, it feels very 70s.
Maybe this will kickstart the birch fellas in Season 6, all of this beautiful birch loggage.
Still, Ren feels a little bad for just swiping up all the profits from Undercut, so he reinvests it all in Cub's coral shop by buying out as much coral as he can, then splashes his cash around several of the other shops for good measure. The plan is to make everyone else rich enough that they'll give it back to him when they inevitably buy logs. Cub is quick to point out that the vandalised house is not even technically his anymore since he moved out and left it as a community info booth, thus it should be a community effort to take Rendog down for messing with it. On the topic of community monuments, Cub develops the rest of the spawnable space at the Ocean Monuments Community XP farm, which leads to drastic increases in output and Dark Prismarine now being available at the Black Pearl Market. Another monolithic task awaits him with the Convex Super Smelter and its monstrous appearance. The way to incorporate this redstone smorgasbord into the scenery is apparently to surround it with andesite and then throw some carrot-looking logs on top. Yeah, it's not finished in the slightest. Doc M has a bone to pick with Cub after finding the Convex's newly installed AFK room at the Guardian farm, although it's tempting enough that he buys a pass himself and even fixes the door for them while he's at it. This leaves him a little short on diamonds though, so he falls back on the tried and tested strategy of milking as much money as he can out of Rendog. This takes the form of a gambling minigame, simple on the surface but complex underneath. There are 2 dice, a white one for the player and a red one for the house. You bet a diamond block, and if the white die rolls higher than the red die, you win. For people who don't want to gamble their savings away, it's also a storefront for his mushroom block shop. This is one NHO endeavour Jevin is not terribly opposed to, as he visits it on his latest shopping spree and doesn't immediately blow it up. The other noteworthy thing on his shopping list is a request for Cleo's Diorama Rama, where he asks for personal tutoring on how to armor stand. And truly intense detailing could come in handy with his recent projects of Underwater Ravine and Seaside Medieval Village both taking more of a shape. The village and the keep around it are specifically designed to double as resource-producing farms of all sorts, all interconnected with hopper pipes, why a villager-powered crop farm is buried just around the corner.
You know what though? That's not that bad.
TFC does away with redstone pipes this week, at least the vertical dropper setup he was using to transport items up from his branch mine is replaced with a lag-busting upward bubble column. And that's not the only 1.13 tweak TFC makes after learning that his auto smelter setup can now provide XP even after the output items have been whisked away by the hoppers. His next plan is to work on a renewable fuel source, so he's joining the kelp farming craze as soon as he can. We can tell you one resource he won't have to smelt though, iron, because on the 8th week of the server, TangoTek has finally completed his Iron Titan. Whether this will bring cheap iron to the server, we don't know, as he hasn't established a shop yet. No, given the opportunity, Tango preferred to spend his time figuring out new ways of killing golems. And truly, it was hard to top the evoker-based Vex-powered golem slaughterhouse from last season. Did he succeed or not? You decide. All we know is that this time, instead of lava blades or ghosts with knives, golems are being killed by an amphitheater full of drowned. The fork-slinging zombies are lined up in a specific way to get rid of golems faster than they can spawn. But no matter the price per ingot, one lucky winner will have a 24/7 access to the iron supply thanks to the Dig My Bits competition. Overall, 4 participants responded to Tango's cry for help. 3 of them were able to show up to the final prize corner: Impulse SV, Azuma, and Wells Knight. The missing link was Biffa, who's been taking a bit of time off for health reasons. After a short counting of bits, turned out it was Wells Knight who broke the most terrain and won a permanent pass to the Titan's storage units.
Disclaimer, that iron cannot be sold, traded, or made any profit means whatsoever to any other fellow hermits, yada yada yada, right? You know the deal, right?
Yeah. You beat it. You ruined my plans, but you ruined them earlier when you put it in the book, so.
Very fitting, because Wells has recently built a blacksmithery in the medieval district. Impulse isn't too hurt by the fact that he didn't make the cut, because business has been booming since day one, and this week he tops up the gold shop just in time for Iskel to plunder it all in the name of pirate riches. He's also doing well to avoid spending his hard-earned diamonds at the other hermit business ventures, considering that his wither-powered tree farm is now up and running, meaning he won't need to spend too much over at Big Logs Incorporated, and Cub gifted him a pass to the Convex's Guardian Farm AFK room as an apology for swiping a bunch of gold right before the gold shop opened for business. Even so, Impulse is aware of the competition from Biffa's book boutique, so he tries a bit of corporate sabotage, luring a couple of phantoms in while it's still nighttime and name tagging them with catchy slogans. Biffa hasn't been around to react to this injustice or our recap tag jokes from last week, but despite all of us insisting that basically all his hoppers are facing the wrong way, his AFK fish farm has been working pretty well, and he's got enough stock to work on other projects, which includes a proper tunnel to the mining mesa instead of the random rainbow road left there by Joe Hills. And speaking of Joe Hills and recap tag, Biffa hasn't passed the tag on to anyone, so we've set Joe Hills in our sights this week. Head to Joe's latest episode, which we'll link in the iCards, and comment with the Spider-Man theme song or your favourite Spider-Man one-liner, because Joe's main focus this week has been collecting spiderwebs for his upcoming Halloween shop. And since these spooky decorations can only be found in abandoned mine shafts, that means a lot of near-poisoning experiences with cave spiders.
I really want all of those spider webs, but I also really want to not be poisoned to death.
Still, it's nothing a little retail therapy and a few stacks of chicken won't cure. And finally there's Grian on his perpetual quest to spread mischief and prankery, although this time he might have hit a rough patch. First, the quicksand prank he planned for Mumbo didn't work because the game mechanic it was based on was fixed for 1.13 Minecraft. Then Azuma, who he decided to make his target instead, turned out not to be as AFK as expected and promptly scared Grian away. Having finally found someone AFKing on the server, Ijevin of all people, Grian decided to try the old slime block into space trick, but a flock of phantoms discouraged him from it, and the slime flying machine was swapped for a sideways one. One Jevin promptly glitched through and smashed to the ground dead.
Bye, Jevin. Oh, this is great. What? No, Jevin! How did... Jevin fell off at where he died. What? No! What? My elytra!
After a quick item rescue mission, one that got Grian himself killed as well, he just left all of Jev's stuff in a chest and decided to pretend like none of this ever happened. All this showcases perfectly how much of a disaster Grian with access to an infinite supply of TNT would be, which is exactly what we'll be getting soon if he follows through with his plans of fitting a creeper farm into the center of his base. The base itself, by the way, was time-lapsed quite intensely during a Q&A segment of the video, and so could actually fit some mob farmage in it now. What we're trying to say here is, be very afraid. And that's just about it for this week's recap. Our writer is LoyXP, and my name is Pixel Riffs. Do you want to see us bring a villager back from the dead? Then check out my latest Minecraft episode. The link is in the end cards. Don't forget to leave a like while you're still here, and subscribe so you won't miss future recaps. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next week.